Okay, 500 things to declutter from your home to get the new year started right. We're gonna start in the kitchen with your pots and pans. I think this is gonna work well if you just grab a black trash bag and a donation box and we just move around your whole house together. I'm gonna try and not rush through things, so this video will be a little bit longer. I'll use timestamps too if you wanna skip around at all, but if you can head over to your pots and pans, this is a great place to start. So many of us have accumulated more than we actually need. Here's what I want to challenge you. If you're still at the beginning of your decluttering journey, I just want you to look for pots and pans that the Teflon is scratched. I want you to look for random lids that don't have a bottom. Did you know you can actually donate just lids? Thrift stores will take either piece. You can break up a set, it's not a big deal. Any pieces that you are not using, you have permission to let go. Also, if you have any like random steamers or little pots. My mom had this pot that it just had two handles on the side, no long handle. And I was like, Mom, and it had this weird shaped lid. And I'm like, what is this for? She's like, I have no idea. I got it as part of the set 20 some years ago and I've just always kept it. And so I was like, can we please donate this? And so we did. And guess what? She has not missed that rando, strange shaped pot. So it's gone. But again, here's what we want to look for. Anything that has just gotten like scratched up and it doesn't work well anymore. And so this had been our go-to frying pan for a long time. The finish is just worn off. And so Adeline was making eggs on it and she was like, they are sticking, even if I put some butter in the pan, it is sticking like crazy. Can we please get rid of this pan? And so we got a new one that looks like this. So this one is gonna go, unfortunately I'm just gonna throw it away. And also the lid can be donated then. So here's the lid that goes with that. And I know sometimes the temptation is, oh, maybe I'll keep the lid because I'll use it for something else, or it kind of fits on the, no, get rid of the lid as well. So I'm gonna donate the lid, throw away the pan, and now everything is gonna fit in here really well. So again, that's for people more at the beginning. I'm challenging you, just get rid of pieces that are scratched, damaged, that you don't use anymore, or that are random pieces that you don't know what they go to. Now, if you are further down the path, I want to challenge you to go even further this year. So I'm going to show you how we use the stove as a template to declutter your pots and pans. Okay, so next what I'm going to challenge you to do is to put your favorite pots and pans on the stove first. We're going to use it as a template. And even if they're dirty, it's okay. So that's why I like this method, is that even if you just have stuff on here you cooked dinner with last night, totally fine, because we just want to figure out the ones we're actually using. And so go ahead and put the pots and pans. So we always have one large frying pan. We have our little egg pan. This honestly usually just like lives on the stove because it gets used so frequently. And then we have one big pot and one smaller pot. And then I'll give you one more, but most of us have way more pots and pans than we use. So again, if you are further down the path, you wanna go further in your house this year, you wanna have more freedom in your house, have your kitchen be super easy to manage, to clean, and to take care of, and to cook more, then I would challenge you to do this. 5 pots and pans, and just try that. Now, I do have a Dutch oven that I keep in another cabinet, and then I have a large stock pot that I keep in the basement, but those just don't get used that frequently, so I don't need them in my everyday cabinets where I keep this kind of stuff. Now, again, the beauty of this, and why I encourage you to go so far too, is that if a pan is dirty, somebody has to wash it before it can be used again. So we don't end up with tons and tons of dirty pots and pans. Those are the worst to wash. Those make our kitchen feel really messy and dirty. And so by doing this, they have to get washed like daily or it's not there to use. And so I don't have piles of dirty dishes by the sink. We'll talk about that more too as we get to other dishes, but go further than you think. And I think you are really gonna love it too. Okay, so as long as we're over here, let's talk about baking sheets and baking dishes, and then we're gonna move on to some of the linens and other stuff that's in your kitchen. Now, again, I have a list of 500 things to declutter, and so I have that as a free printable as well. So if it's helpful for you to have like a literal checklist to go around your house, it can be a really great guide where we don't have to do so much thinking. We can just use the list and go around our house. Okay, so in here we have all of our baking sheets. I love this slide out drawer. Get rid of any baking sheets that, again, the finish is worn off, they stick, or they're duplicates that you don't need. Similarly with cutting boards and also any muffin pans, or don't get rid of your buntini pan, though that you'll for sure want to use. Now, what's cool is that I can prioritize this space functioning really well. Am I maximizing like storage space in here by having this rack and only having a few pans? No, but I don't need to anymore because I'm not trying to keep everything. I'm only keeping the stuff that we actually use day in and day out. And then as far as like baking dishes and casserole dishes, I use the container concept for this. So I keep as many baking pans as comfortably fit in this drawer under the stove. I don't actually love this drawer because it gets so dirty and crumbs and stuff get down there, but we have a small kitchen, so it is what it is. So we have 2 large dishes like this, a smaller one, and then 1 big white casserole dish. And that works really well for us. I used to really like casserole dishes, so I had some cute round ones and a little bit smaller ones, but they weren't actually practical. So again, we're taking a really sober look at our stuff. We are prioritizing peace in our house and ease of cleaning and cooking over keeping all the things. And so if you have baking dishes or casserole dishes that you have not used in the past year, let's be willing to move them out so that your kitchen functions so much better. Okay, next, let's talk about linens. So your dishcloths, your dish towels. I decided, I don't know, earlier last year that I was like, you know, it is okay if I have nice matching dish towels. So I got rid of all the ones that were from our wedding that I had registered for, and they all match now, and I really like it. For some things like pots and pans, I use count. I count the number we have. We have 5. Well, we only have 4, but I'm giving you up to 5, right? But for something like this, linens, we just keep what comfortably fits in this drawer. So that means when all of the laundry is done, what fits. And so it ends up being about 8 dishcloths. We have 6 of these style towels. And then I have, if you can see back here, I also have 2 nice ones that go on the handle here when we have company over. So it's okay to still have nice towels, like it's totally fine. But this just makes me so happy when I open it. They all match, it's nice, and we can have nice things for everyday use. This drawer then is extra plastic bags. We don't need to keep tons and tons of extra bags. So in here we have plastic bags. Again, we're just using the container concept, what comfortably fits in here. The next drawer is our microfiber cleaning cloths. So again, I don't count them. I mean, look, they hardly even get folded, right? But we just keep what comfortably fits in here. And then if we go one more drawer down, well, this is our rice sock we heat up when anyone's sick or wants something warm to snuggle with. And then this bottom drawer is for paper bags. Again, whatever comfortably fits in here, that is what we keep. The rice sock holds it all down, nice and neat. And then in this drawer, what's behind drawer number 5, we have our pot holders. I'm not gonna hold them up too close because they do still get kind of dirty. But you know, we have 4 in here. We have 2 of the glow style and then 2 of these, and that's plenty, right? If we ever have an occasion where I need more trivets or things to set up, like I can use a cutting board. I can just use a folded up towel. So I'm always asking myself, if I had less, what would I use instead? If I needed an extra pot holder, what would I use? I would use a towel. And so I'm like, okay, that's an easy option. I just want this drawer to function really well. And so this is about the maximum for that, and it works really well. And then we also just keep like our candle lighters and that kind of stuff in here too. But you will love how it feels to have your drawers and cabinets so highly simplified. It's so easy to put stuff away. It's easy to get what you need. I really like it. I also always encourage you to keep your kitchen counters nice and cleared off. It gives our brain a break, really, is what it comes down to. We keep out our coffee maker, but other than that, everything else gets tucked away. And even in our small kitchen, we've been able to find room for everything. Darn it, I was really hoping you weren't gonna see the dirty dishes in the sink. It's fine. Well, let go of any decor that you're not using at the time of filming. We still have our Christmas decor up, but just take a really good look at it. Is this adding to my kitchen? Is it making it easier to use, or is it actually making it harder to keep my kitchen clean because there's stuff I have to move around when I'm wiping down the counters at the end of the day? So let go of extra decor, simplify decor, and definitely work to move stuff off of your counters. Speaking of dishes, let's talk about dishes quick. Okay, this is where we're gonna push the envelope and encourage you again to declutter further, because highly simplifying our dishes has made a huge difference in our kitchen. So again, if you're still more at the beginning of your decluttering journey, look for duplicates, look for cups and mugs and travel tumblers and water bottles that you aren't using. pare those down. Anything that you have not used in the past year, just let it go. Donate it, throw it in a trash bag. Goodbye. Also look for duplicates and extras of things that you didn't really intentionally bring into your kitchen. So let those things go. Now, again, if you're further down the path, you want to go even further in the new year, we have just one place setting per person. So one bowl, one plate, and then a glass. We actually have 2 glasses for each person. And then we have 2 extra place settings if we would have company over. I know that's your next question. But again, similar to the pots and pans, this makes it so that I never, ever, ever have huge stacks of dirty dishes next to the sink. It's self-limiting. People can't just keep pulling more and more out. If we have more company than this, I have a company bin in the basement with Melmac dishes that I'll bring out with extra plates and bowls, or we'll use paper products. Like, it's fine. It's so occasional. But this has been a game changer for our family. Sometimes people wash their dishes right away after a meal. That would be my preference. Often we run the dishwasher about once a day. Sometimes I hand wash the dishes if I'm in that kind of mood. But no matter what, I don't have to have a rock solid habit of doing the dishes every day because they're limited. They have to get washed every day, or you don't have a bowl for cereal in the morning. So this truly has changed everything in our kitchen, and I love it. I will not go back. We also did swap out our dishes for the Corral. They're more expensive, but man, they're durable, they hold up, and they wash up really well. So this was a switch we made out last year, actually about this time last year, and I'm really glad. I've really enjoyed it. And they're just, I don't know, they don't even take up a lot of room now. They're like even smaller in the cabinet. So that's been a good upgrade as well. And then also in this cabinet, this is a bin for stuff that I like put into my coffee in the morning. And then also we keep some supplements in here. I mean, I get it. Sometimes it's like out of sight, out of mind, and you forget to take them if you don't have them handy, but I have to limit it to this bin. Otherwise, I don't know why, but they just like multiply. And I do like this clear bin because it's easy to pull it out and get what you need for those of us who are a little bit shorter. But again, even with this kind of stuff, be really realistic. Like, how much are you actually using and taking, or has another year gone by with them just sitting there and you're not even realizing it? So pare that stuff down, and then you are more likely to actually take the ones that you want to take. Okay, next on the list of things to declutter, to have a more peaceful house, an easier to manage house. That is the whole point behind all this. I don't get rid of things just to get rid of things, is small appliances. So we got into baking sourdough bread about a year ago. We did it for a while. We really liked it. And now we have not been using the bread maker because we realized that some people in our household would eat a whole loaf of sourdough by themselves and then still have a headache the next day, even though it's sourdough. So for the health of our whole family, we decided that it maybe wasn't good for a while. I would like to get into baking it again, but I don't know when that's gonna be. So our kitchen is small, everything is valuable real estate. So I've been actually meaning to pull this out and then just store it in the basement for now. It can live down there till I decide to use it again. I'm really ruthless with small appliances because they take up a lot of space and they cause us to feel guilty when we're not using them. So we have an air fryer that we use. We have a Ninja blender in our other cabinet, but even like the juicer that we'll use in the winter, often if anyone gets sick, that lives in the basement now too. It was taking up valuable space. Other than that, we've pretty much got rid of all of our small appliances because they were a pain to clean. We didn't use them. They were just taking up space. But now this cabinet functions so well. And I have a separate, I'm gonna do an organized house tour, so I don't wanna get too much into the organization, but we have our toaster, I have a tea caddy. This bin has all of our like baking oils and stuff. And then other than that, we don't keep much down here, but it makes it so easy to use. So again, we are going for function in our kitchen, and keeping the inventory really low so it's easy to move stuff around and get to what you need to makes it function so much better. You know, I went back and forth if I should mention this or not, but another nice thing about having our cabinets so simplified, and actually we'll talk about cleaning supplies next, and then we'll get moving on from the kitchen because I know we have a lot of other ground to cover, but we get mice every winter. And I used to think it was like a dirty house thing and like, oh, if I could just keep the kitchen cleaner and all of that. No, even now that we actually keep it pretty tidy and neat and food put away and all that, like we still do. And these are the cabinets that they go into for whatever reason. And so like every winter Tom has to pull things out. And so whether it's because you have a water leak, the dishwasher is leaking, or something else happens, or mice or other pests or something else, It is so much less embarrassing for someone to see your cabinets and go through them when you've highly simplified the stuff. And so again, I've just been willing to let go of stuff that we're not using in this current season of life. I either donate it or, like I've said, I put it in the basement or a different area, but I don't miss it, and our kitchen functions so much better day to day. And then when you have those like mishaps come up, it's not as horrifying either. And then for cleaning supplies, I heard a friend in our mentorship group say, the magic's in the motion, not the potion. So I know how we accumulate new cleaning supplies that we think are gonna be miraculous and they're gonna clean the kitchen for us, and they don't. And so permission to let go of any cleaners that you're just not using, they didn't work as well, or they're duplicates. We only do so much cleaning in any given month or week. And so I've really pared down our cleaning supplies to just the things that we like and use. Many of them are very multi-purpose. I also just got this hot tip from a cleaning friend. She said, use your Dawn power wash on your stove to soak it. She said it works awesome. So anyways, we don't use a ton of this. I mean, I've had this for almost a year now, I think, but it's kind of fun. Makes dishes a little more. I also don't stock up or buy big containers. So even these big, I have 2 of these. I didn't buy these. Tom bought them at the store, and it's fine, but I don't like having to store lots of extras or bulk. It's just too stressful to me. I forget I have things. I buy duplicates. I like to buy, you know, something like this, and then if I don't like it, by the time I'm like really sick of it, I can be done with it and move on to something else, right? So I don't like to commit to these like huge size things. It's just too much for me, but you do you, but permission to let go of anything duplicate or extra that you're just not using. This space functions so much better when it's highly simplified. Okay, let's talk about bathroom stuff, specifically like hair care, face care, that kind of stuff. This is the bathroom I get ready in, and then we'll go to the other bathroom to talk about linens and some of that other stuff. Okay, the bathroom is an interesting place because there's a lot of like experimenting that goes on in here. As far as figuring out what kind of products work well for you. We get sold so many products that we just think are gonna solve all of our problems. I mean, I've tried everything out there to have thick, full hair that always looks like it has lots of volume and all that, right? And then finally I've just had to realize like there's no miracle solutions out there, despite what all of these influencers say. So I've shared this before, but I have my get ready bin here, and then this bin just has some other hair care products and stuff that I use more occasionally. But this is the stuff I use every single day, so I can just pull this out and then get ready. Permission to let go of any hair care products that you have tried that you just don't love, you don't like, they're not working like you had hoped they would. Again, there's just a lot of experimenting that goes on. So you can let that stuff go along with makeup and facial care products, even just, Diana got me this for Christmas. It's a dry shampoo. And you know, I have tried like all the dry shampoos out there. I really don't like, probably the only one I like is this one, but it is so expensive that I can't even bring myself to buy it anymore. So I'm gonna use like this up, but I don't know. I know there's not good things in here for you to like breathe in and stuff too. I was tempted just to donate it. Well, I was tempted to take it back, but I didn't, and we started using it. But I've just decided I'm gonna use it up. But are you the type of person to use stuff up, or would it be better to donate it, throw it away, pass it on, let somebody else you know try it? It is okay just to take your black trash bag and just to put it in and be done with it if there's stuff that is partially used and you really don't like it. I mostly just use talc-free baby powder, and that works just fine, and I've got it down really good. But so again, we're just looking for anything, self-tanners, body scrubs, lotions, all those things that we acquire in here, because what I've done is to prioritize being able to keep this bathroom clean. So, I mean, you'll notice we don't even have any decor out on the vanity for this season of life. Maybe there'll be a season where I can have that again, and that's totally fine. So I'm prioritizing keeping it clean and being able to get to the stuff I use every single day. So even in this top drawer too, I prioritize the stuff I use every single day. My toothbrush and glasses and contacts, and being able to get to that really easily, my jewelry, and then everything else I've been willing to move out, and it feels so good. So prioritize keeping it clean and being able to get ready really easily. Now, another thing that you might need to pare down are like hairstyling tools. You know, I've tried different ones of these over the years too, and I've really just landed on, I need a straightener, a curling iron, a waving iron, and a blow dryer. And that's what we need. Again, I've made this would have been from Target, and then I just took a dollar store cutting board and put it in the middle. So this is where I put my styling tools. It works really well. I'm very proud of this invention. And then also back here, if you have some things that you're just having a hard time parting with, it can be okay to have a small time will tell bin in the bathroom. And so I always get asked about where this container is from. It is from Target. It's actually a file folder bin, so it's in like the office supplies area. But I just put anything extra in here, extra contacts, extra eyelashes. I have an extra pair of glasses in here, extra cotton rounds, toothpaste, deodorant, some face mask stuff in here. And so I don't want this stuff cluttering up my drawers and the like really valuable real estate. So I just stick it in here. I know we always look for extras here first. Like the kids ran out of toothpaste the other day. They're like, hey, do we have more toothpaste? So I found some in here, and then they're using that up. But this is the limit for how much extra stuff I keep, because we could keep tons and tons of extras of, you know, hotel samples, and lots of times we get cosmetics, you get extra samples. So if you want to try and keep some of that stuff, that's fine. Just limit it and don't let it clutter up your main high traffic spaces. Keep those really simplified so it's really easy to get ready and then really easy to put stuff away again. And again, when it comes to like skincare products and anti-aging products, I don't want to gloss over this too quickly. I do want to fully acknowledge that a lot of these things we have spent a lot of money on. And so it can really hurt to declutter something that you spent a fair amount of money on and that you really thought was gonna help. The magic's in the motion, not the potion. And that's helped me to keep from impulse buying these things moving forward, is to say, hey, you know what? Most any skincare routine will work if we use it really consistently every single day and do all the steps and do all the things. And so I have to, again, be realistic. Am I going to use this up, systematically use up the skincare stuff that I've acquired? Or is it simply gonna go bad before I even have a chance to use it all because I've acquired it too much? And so we might have to let some stuff go, but that process, that painful process, like it literally triggers the pain center in our brain when we let go of something we've spent money on. That process is actually what keeps us from making these same impulse buys or poor buying decisions in the future. So allow yourself to feel the pain. It sucks, right? But keeping it in here is not going to put the money back in your pocket. So let's move it out. Let's have it be really easy to use these spaces and to get ready, and then trust we're going to make better buying decisions moving forward. I also was just thinking, I haven't made a pass through the girls' like hair stuff recently. This was tough. When I decluttered this last year and I was getting rid of all of their like little girl bows and things they used to wear in their hair when they were younger, like there was grieving that went along with that. And remember, if something is super special, then you want to put that in your memory box and you can keep that. But otherwise, I'm just always looking for things like this headband that they got and no one ever wears. It just came from the dollar store. So I don't want this type of stuff cluttering it up this drawer. So I can let that go. Like these scrunchies I know get used. This scrunchie doesn't get used. And so I'm just looking for data. Like this doesn't need to be in here. That's just garbage, right? Looking for stuff that no longer gets used, freeing up some space in here so it's super easy to put everything away, and so that they can get to the things that they actually do use. Like these headbands, they don't get worn anymore. Again, it's kind of sad, right? But keeping it isn't gonna make them wear it or use it anymore. And it really does function so much better when it's decluttered. Okay, let's talk about the laundry room. So any of these spaces that we really do a lot of work in, the more I've simplified it, the more I don't mind the work that we do. So the kitchen, the laundry room, you know, it's one thing to sit in a cluttered living room and watch TV, but when you're actually like trying to move in here and be productive and not have it be a big mess, having it highly simplified has been such a game changer. So let's look for any old detergents, empty detergent containers, old stain treaters. Again, we do a lot of trial and error. Do I like this stain remover? Oh, an influencer sold me on this and just said, oh, how miraculous it is. I don't know. It's fine. I don't think it's any better than any of the other stain treaters that other influencers said were the best. Like, I think literally if I look at all of these, they were all influenced by somebody selling me something. So isn't that funny? So it's permission to let go of duplicates, anything you're not actually using that didn't really work that well, that you got and thought it was going to be great. Do you have extra garment bags or dryer balls? I think dryer balls are the worst, but I keep them, you know, but I have space for them, so it's not that big a deal. But especially if you are really tight on space, what things could you move out of here? Sometimes we also just get random storage stuff in here that just doesn't need to be in here. I had also always had what are they called? An ironing board behind the door in here. And it was such a pain. Like, you couldn't sweep in here well because it was there. Sometimes it would like fall, you know, like just, and finally I was like, I never use an ironing board. Why am I keeping it? On the rare occasion where we need to iron something, I just put a bath towel on top of here and then I iron. It's just really not that big of a deal. So we kind of have to go in with fresh eyes and be like, what is making this space not work well? And you have permission to let those things go. So I keep things really streamlined in here, and then I actually really like this space a lot. Okay, I'm trying to think what else like accumulates in here. Vacuums, dust busters, are there any of those types of products? You know, sometimes we spend a lot of money on those and they just do not work that well. So again, let's move that stuff out, because I really think for you too, that if you can get this space highly simplified, that it is gonna work so well for you. And again, you might just find that you don't actually mind doing the laundry that much, and it's a lot easier to stay on top of it when this space is clean. Okay, next let's head to your entryway, mudroom, hall closet. Some people, you have like a dedicated mudroom, which is awesome. We have like a combo entryway slash mudroom-ish. I'm actually very grateful. Our house is very small, but we actually have a really good size entryway, a nice closet here. So I'm very grateful for that. The only thing I don't love, we have this shoe bench from IKEA. We got this over 9 years ago. They still have it there. That's probably one of the top things I get asked about. It is from IKEA, still there. It's held up really great. Mostly I like it for quickly putting shoes away, but because it's also a flat surface, stuff gets piled on it. So this is an area I definitely have to be really intentional about to keep the inventory down so that it still stays functioning well. As soon as I notice there's shoes everywhere all of the time, that usually means that we have too many. So here, I'm gonna switch around here. We will look inside the closet and I'll tell you some of my parameters for what's allowed to be kept in this area and what's not. Okay. Usually I look in here first just to make sure it doesn't look too bad. I'm not, so let's see. Okay, I think it's kind of hard to get the whole thing in here, but we're doing pretty good. So make a pass through, look for out of season coats, coats that don't fit anyone in your family anymore. So our rule is that you get 2 coats in here. A vest and a coat, 2 winter coats, anything, any combination like that, but 2. And then if anyone has anything beyond that, then it needs to be kept in their bedroom. Similarly with shoes, because again, with 6 people in our household, the shoes can add up really quickly. So this isn't too bad. So everyone can have 2 pairs of shoes and 1 pair of boots. So we're into, who knows when it could snow in Minnesota season right now. So we always have boots out, and then 2 pairs of shoes. And I also want to encourage you to take a pass through purses, bags, tote bags, reusable bags, and backpacks. And I will tell you about the recent backpack debacle that we had. So at the beginning of the school year, I had everybody pick out the backpack they were using for this year. We homeschool, so the kids only do something 1 day a week when they have co-op. So our backpacks don't get a lot of use, so we don't necessarily get a new one every year like we used to. So everyone picked out a backpack, and then I donated any extra backpacks. I was not going to store that type of inventory. But what happened about a month ago? Gage's backpack like ripped, like the seam just totally let loose. And as I was looking, I'm like, I don't know how I could fix that, right? If it's a simple fix, I'll try and do it. And so I'm like, okay, that is just beyond repair. And then my initial thought was, oh no, I decluttered the other backpacks. If I would have kept them, we would have it and I wouldn't need to go buy him a backpack now. Okay, so what do? We went to the thrift store. We have a favorite thrift store here that just has really good prices and great items usually. And he found this backpack for $3.99. And did I want to have to spend $4 on a new backpack? No, of course not. But this one is actually much better quality than the one he had before. That was just like a character backpack from Walmart. So this will probably last him at least 2 years. It's in brand new condition and it was only $4. And so I'm constantly weighing, like I tell the kids all the time, everything in life is trade-offs. Do I want to store extra backpacks in the off chance that we need another one throughout the year? Or like some of you often say, like, I just store my duplicates at the thrift store, right? Am I okay once in a while being inconvenienced for $4 to go get something when we need it? And in the meantime, my hope was that other kids got to actually use those other backpacks, that I'm not just storing them for someday, that physical items are meant to get used and they were being used. So every once in a while, do we end up having to purchase something? Yes, but it is so rare and so far between that it has not deterred my decluttering, and I encourage you to keep going further and further. Okay, so even though we have our house highly simplified, there's still flat surfaces will still tend to collect clutter. We have to be really intentional about that. And anywhere anyone can shove something, like often things get shoved. Someone's job is to clean up the entryway, and instead of putting something away, it's still often easier just to try and put it in here, right? So that still happens in our home, not as much as it used to, and that's where I still like just continually am making passes decluttering through our house. So I'm seeing even a couple things here. So this basket is for hats, baseball hats, this style hats. Definitely the inventory can creep up. So do you have any of these style hats that you can get rid of? Any winter hats that don't fit people in your house anymore? Mittens that don't have a mate. So let's see. And then things like purses and fanny packs. I used this fanny pack for a long time. Wow, I even cleaned it out and it's empty. So this can get donated. This was one that Adeline used to use, but again, it's already emptied out. I'll double check with her, but I don't think she's using that anymore. Like rollerblade pads, great, but no one's rollerblading in Minnesota right now, so this can get put in the basement. This doesn't have to be in here cluttering up this space, because clutter attracts clutter, and as soon as the basket starts getting filled up with stuff, it's just like fair game for everyone. And then there's stuff that just needs to be put away, right? So these are binoculars that are usually up here. So we'll put those up there for Tom so he knows where those are. And then like, what's this bag of randomness, right? Now, the good thing is that I have really strong decluttering muscles now, right? And you're gaining this too as you keep going through your house. So in the past, a bag of randomness like was just so stressful to me, and these things are just shoved in here and whatnot. But I've gotten really good at just knowing what to do with this type of stuff. So let's see what's in here. Oh, firecrackers. Yeah, like, where do firecrackers live in our house? I don't know. Usually this kind of stuff we just keep in the camper because we use it when we go camping. So I'm trying to think, like, where should I put these? All right, let me think on this for just a second. But we also have stuff for filling nail holes that just needs to get put away downstairs. Gardening gloves, so that can go in the garden bin. Thought I saw another one too. And then there's some stuff like extra sunglasses. I just bought them from the convenience store because I had forgot mine. But am I going to remember that I have these? And if I could remember to take these with, I would take my good ones with. So I don't need these types of duplicate items. And I didn't even know it was there. So if you find something, you're like, oh wow, totally forgot I owned that. If we don't know it's there, it has absolutely no value. So again, we're always looking for data. I had totally forgotten these were here. I haven't worn them since I bought them, just for that one time I wore them. So I'm gonna put these in my donation box and let these go. And I'm also seeing another pair here too. I have no idea where these ones came from. Like if they were the kids or Tom's, I would ask, but I seriously have no idea who. They're too big for the kids and I know they're not Tom's. So we're just gonna donate those. This is for the dogs, so we'll put that in our dog stuff bin. All right, and then these, why are these in here? These are snow pants that do fit, so these just need to get hung up. Okay. Okay. All right. Just looking for anything else we can clear out of here quick. And so I'm just constantly scanning for this type of random stuff that's just not in the right place to put away. Or honestly, my favorite thing is to donate stuff. If we are not using it, I refuse to keep things for someday and just in case anymore, because that is the type of stuff that is cluttering up these spaces and making them not function well. When this closet is pared down, even in winter when we have all of our stuff out and all of our snow pants and boots and all that, everything can still fit in here comfortably. But if I keep all of this kind of stuff, this just in case or what if stuff, then it does not function well. So again, I'm prioritizing peace in our home over possessions. And so this stuff is gonna go, I'm not even gonna miss it. That's the crazy thing. I will have totally forgotten about it. So, all right. What did we decide on the fireworks? What are we doing with this? All right. Part of me just wants to throw it away, honestly, but Tom probably does remember it's here. So I'm gonna put it on Tom. Tom has this shelf up here. I'm gonna put it over there for him. And I'm just not gonna worry about it much more than that. All right, let's keep moving. We've got more work to do. Now, we often talk about using the onion method when we're decluttering, meaning that we kind of go layer by layer through our house. So that's why I love doing something like this, where you kind of just go around your whole house with a black trash bag and a donation box, because you look for stuff that's kind of easy, the low-hanging fruit, right? And then as we go further, we gain more confidence in ourselves, and then we go for harder things and things that are more sentimental or special or were gifts. So if you're still at like the beginning of your decluttering journey, just look for the stuff that's really obvious, that's garbage, broken, used up, worn out, or that no one in your family is using, and that's going to make a huge difference in your house. And so for anyone right at the beginning, I wouldn't expect you to necessarily go this far with your living room. We keep our living room so simple, to the point where we don't even have end tables. Often I don't have any kind of decor on here except over Christmas, because when I started this journey, my goal was that any room in our home could be totally picked up in 5 minutes or less. And so this is where I've felt we've had to keep the inventory in our living room for that to happen. But do you know what's funny? This room functions so well and it gets used so much, and I don't think anyone in our household feels like we're missing out because there's not all of the traditional things in here. So this table, I wish it had some kind of like tracker on it, like how many hours of Legos and board games have been played here. And even for that kind of stuff, like our games are under here that we use regularly, and the boys have a bin of Legos that they keep here. Even that stuff, we keep the inventory really low, but yet we've all had hours of enjoyment here. And so I think probably one of the biggest misconceptions is that if we want to have good family quality time, that we need games and craft supplies and Legos and different things, when the truth is we can still keep it very simple. And in many ways, I feel like because I'm not spending lots of time cleaning the house and picking up all the time, that we have even more time to spend here as a family. So that's been really cool. So again, in your living room spaces and family room spaces, are there any worn out throw pillows, extra throw blankets? When our kids were really little, believe it or not, I didn't actually have a lot of throw pillows. Because why? They were on the floor, right? Now everyone can help pick them up. So we have more throw pillows again. But what else do you store in here? What about DVDs and movies and CDs and magazines and catalogs? What other decor? Is there just any decor that in the past you liked it and it felt like it made your space more cozy or homey, but now it's just more that you have to clean around, you have to pick up, you have to move, and it doesn't match the goals for your house. And sometimes if I'm having kind of like a weird emotional attachment to something, I have to like just think about it for a minute and be like, okay, why am I having such a hard time letting this item go? So, you know, if you've followed me for any length of time, we joke about throw pillows, and I love throw pillows. And this one, you can't really tell, but it's stained, it's faded, it's worn. So the pillow underneath here is a white pillow from IKEA, and it had like this down filling. So it's always kept its shape really well. And I had that pillow since before Tom and I got married. And then when we moved into one of our previous homes, I covered it. This was a shower curtain, but I really liked the material, and I used it like for a bunch of different things in our house. And I had to be very thrifty. We did not have money just to go out and buy new throw pillows. Throw pillows are expensive, right? And so this, I have used it in all of our houses, and I really liked it. Like I said, it's still like pretty fluffy. And then we got to the point where I was never using it here anymore. It was just floating around the house or different places. And so finally I'm like, we don't need this pillow anymore. But yet the thought of putting it in the donation box or throwing it away because it is kind of dirty was just like, well, I can't, I've had, what? And I'm like, oh, this pillow like represents me thinking I'll never get to buy more throw pillows again, because what's attached to it is like, take really good care of this pillow because it's the only good pillow that you have. And so since then, fortunately, I have been able to buy different throw pillows, and it's not really an issue anymore. I mean, I just still don't try to be wasteful with throw pillows, but like I can from time to time, about once a year, I'll buy a couple new throw pillows. And so this one is not serving us anymore. It's not useful. I don't need it. It has turned into clutter, but I did have to be like, it's okay, Dawn. Like you can let that go. There will be more throw pillows. And it was super cool. I'm glad that I was thrifty and creative and could sew my own pillow covers, but it's okay. It can be let go now, and we're not going to miss it. So I understand some of these attachments to things, but ultimately I'm choosing to prioritize a peaceful home over this kind of stuff. And again, once it's gone, I keep saying this, but like once it's gone, I'll never think about it again. I keep made truly special and sentimental items in my memory box, and this kind of stuff, it's definitely okay to let it go. You might also want to look for old electronics, remotes that you have no idea, extra cords and cables, user manuals, all of those types of things that just accumulate. We think we should keep them, but if you haven't used it in the past year or so, it's probably safe to let it go. Okay, so next we're gonna move into the area of our house where we keep homeschool stuff, kids stuff, craft supply things, and then also we have kind of a little home office area here too, so we'll go through that. I was asked a good question recently. Let's start working, and then I'll tell you what it was. Okay, so over here I'm continually looking for things that kids have lost interest in, I've lost interest in, that just aren't currently being used. I don't want to manage things that aren't being used in our current season of life. And I was recently asked on Instagram, how do you manage homeschooling as a minimalist? And I think this is one of those areas where there's so much confusion, and we think there has to be a lot of inventory and a lot of stuff that goes along with it. But it's not actually true. Like when we really step back and look at the role of marketing in all of the stuff that we acquire, marketing tells us we need lots of manipulatives and lots of different kinds of books and workbooks and craft supplies and games and learning games and all these different activities. When the truth is that if you look at how children's brains develop, the most productive work happens when they're just playing. And so I like to set up an environment that is very play friendly and play heavy, with Legos and blocks and cardboard. And I mean, right here is a creation. I showed this recently on another video, so I won't belabor the point. But when kids are constructing this, they are learning so much about all things, engineering and geometry and building materials and how things go together, and cooperation and social skills. And so anyways, I don't have to push all my values onto you, but I do not need a lot of stuff to have a successful homeschool. I also don't need a lot of stuff when it comes to books to be super smart or to make it appear that I'm smart, or we don't need lots of craft supplies for our kids to be creative. Like they actually do best with really simple materials. And even as I make a pass through books now that I try to do fairly regularly, my thought is that if there are books that aren't being used right now, I would rather pass them on and let somebody else make use of it than just to continue to keep it for ourselves so I can make it look like we have an impressive home library here, right? So I'm just constantly kind of like scanning, looking for things. Even, children's books, I used to keep extras in case little kids come over and stuff, but it doesn't happen. Or if they do, this isn't what we choose to do. They would rather play and do other things. So even a lot of this stuff I let go now. So looking for books. I also like to look for treasures, other projects, like even this was a bag where that like some Christmas stuff came in, but really it has served its purpose. It's not super special, so I'm willing to let this kind of stuff go. I have shown this before too. If you do have any kids that are really attached to stuff, we do have our, Gage has his treasure bins here. Oh my goodness, this is so heavy. So if you have kids that are super attached to things, having a treasure bin where they can keep anything that they want to keep. So little treasures, little things they find, little craft supplies, little things that are given to them, those go in here. But then here, I'm just like finding garbage. Did you see this? All right, more garbage. And sometimes I include the kids on this, and often I don't, and that is a-okay. This does not go here. I'm gonna put this away quick. So again, I am just looking for things, like this was just an empty box. This, I know it's just not super special, so this kind of stuff I'm just putting straight into my black trash bag. If it's super special, then we're gonna put it in a memory box and we're gonna keep it, but I know that that didn't really actually have meaning. This just needs to get put away. Extra garbage here. I know when you have creative kids, like there's just always like stuff, like they were gonna make a board game and they started making it, but then they switched gears and lost interest in it. So we can't keep this stuff. And I even try to resist taking pictures of everything because pictures are still inventory that I have to manage. Ella, do you need this music still? No? No? Okay. And even too, I've had to be aware, this is a Christmas thing I just need to put in our Christmas bin, as long as I'm over here. I also have to be aware even of faith-based things because I've acquired things, like these are little like verse cards and stuff, and it's easy to think, oh, if I just had the right tools and memorization things and little booklets and all the things, that then for sure, then I will do all the spiritual things that I'm hoping to do with our kids. And the truth is that we can do it with just the bare bones basics. We often think that these things are what's gonna like help us to create the habit and to be really successful at it. But it's kind of like when you go out and buy all the exercise equipment and shoes and outfits before you actually start the habit of exercising, right? Like this stuff still doesn't do it for us. And so I'm very aware if there's stuff I've bought that we're just not using, or it just wasn't as good as I thought, it wasn't as effective as I thought, that I move that stuff out now. I'm not gonna keep it just because we spent money on it. Again, because the only way that I enjoy homeschooling and enjoy having creative kids is if we keep the inventory really low. Okay, so over here we have office stuff and, well, I'll just show you because I'm actually proud of it because I've been able to keep it up. I've organized these different cabinets at different points, but it's actually all staying very organized. Probably the only thing I haven't shown is recently we moved our games into the bottom of this cabinet, but the baskets on top hardly have anything in them, and so I'm pretty proud of that. And then this center one has where we keep like printer paper and labels and that kind of stuff. This bin is for my receipts, so I just have an easy spot to put receipts for the year. And this just has some like random tech stuff in it, which is totally fine because it's contained and it fits and we know where to look for that kind of stuff. And then this cabinet, it kind of has some random stuff, but this bin has all of my label making stuff, whether it's chalk labels or label maker. This has some extra like painter's tape I always keep in there, printer cartridges, Sharpies, contact papers back there, and then just a few craft supplies that I keep up here. And then on top is some more office stuff. And so I think I did this like last summer, but it still works really well. But again, mostly because I keep the inventory so low. So I would really encourage you to look for duplicate office products that you're just not using. The 1 year rule is good because it means you've gone through 4 seasons, and if you haven't used something in over a year, there's just a really good chance that you're not going to use it in the coming year. And worst case, if you did need it, you could just find something else to use in its place. And something interesting occurred to me when we were going through our games here. We got new games for Christmas, and I always like to use the container concept, so I only want to keep as many games that fit in one spot. So this is our limit, and Rummy Cube is still our hands down favorite. We've really been enjoying Play 9 now, so this is one of our new favorites, along with Karuba, especially if you have kids that are a little bit younger. I like games that are fun to play as an adult with your kids, right? And then we're gonna actually, tonight we're gonna learn Dutch Blitz. Oh, Poetry for Neanderthals, that's been really fun too. Maggie is a whiz at that game. But what struck me as I was going through this just recently, and we got rid of a few games, was that we never pick the mediocre options. Even though, like, we play in the winter, we play games most nights, but we don't need a lot of options, and we never pick the mediocre ones. So as soon as we get new games that are our favorites, we only play the ones that we really enjoy. We don't go back to the games that we're like, well, it's only kind of fun, or our family only kind of likes it, because that's never going to be what you're going to choose. You're going to choose the games that you enjoy playing, and you don't have to have a huge selection. You just need to keep your favorites. So you can keep your favorites, you can let the others go. And again, this is an area where I wasn't considering the fact that new games will continue to come in. So sometimes I was a little hesitant to get rid of old ones because I'm like, well, maybe when the kids get older, or maybe this or that, then we'll play that one. But then I failed to realize that, but there's still gonna be new games coming in for birthdays and Christmas or other events. And you can also borrow them from other families, which we've done too, which has been really fun. We're like, hey, what's your favorite game? Let's exchange one, which has also been kind of cool. So we kind of get stuck in our head, like stuck in time, but oh, I don't want to get rid of this just in case. Failing to realize there's new ones coming in, and we always just pick the favorites. So why not just keep the favorites, let the other ones go, less for you to manage, and you can still have really good and robust game nights. You don't need tons and tons of games to have that. So about a year and a half ago, we took what had been our family room and turned it into our master bedroom. It was just a logistical decision, and this room's a little weird now because we have an outside door, we have our basement door, we have no closet in here, but because we had simplified things so much, I felt confident that we could absolutely make it work. And the benefit was this room is actually a little bit bigger. And so then we were able to add in 2 sitting chairs and this little side table. And now this is my favorite room in the entire house. And I think it's really important that we each have a peaceful spot where we can go to get away from the world. So we live in this very noisy and chaotic world, and there's something about having a spot that's always picked up and tidy. I kind of protect this area and make sure it always stays clean, where we can just kind of go and unwind. And I even went so far as to put a bird feeder outside of the window, right? Like it's my little spot. Even the kids will often, like, they don't really bother me in here, or if they do, they're like, I'm sorry to bother you, I just need this quick or whatever. And I'm really grateful for that. And so I do think it's awesome if we can each have a spot, whether it's in your bedroom or somewhere else in your house. But like I said, this has become my favorite room in our home, and I really do work to keep it very simplified. Some of the things that can tend to accumulate in here are books. For some, it's not hard, but for some of you, books are very much tied into your identity. Again, I love books. I'm not against books, but we've had these 2 baskets under our bed of kind of like overflow books that didn't fit in our nightstand or that little cabinet we have between our chairs. And so I've had these 2 baskets here. Mostly they're my books, some of them are Tom's as well. There's really not much else under our bed. It's kind of a good overflow spot. But as I'm looking at the data, right, I like to say, like, look at data, because then it takes the emotion out of it. We have not accessed these books in the past year or so. And so I actually want to get rid of these baskets this year. Some might say, like, oh wow, you're going like really far now. You won't even have a couple baskets of books. I mean, I know many of you have like bookshelves of books, right? And I have a bookshelf in my office now. A couple of these will go out there. Like a few of them I do want to keep. I do have a value for books. But I like the alternative better. I like the idea of there being nothing under our bed better than having these baskets of books under there. And in her book, Outer Order, Inner Calm, I'm actually gonna do a whole video on this next week because it's so good. But even right at the beginning, this is what struck me so much, and I'm like, oh my goodness, she gets it. Like, she just gets it. She says that when I'm surrounded by a mess, I feel restless and unsettled. when I clean up that mess, I'm always surprised by the disproportionate energy and cheer I gain. Once a friend told me, I finally cleaned out my fridge and now I can switch careers. I knew exactly what she meant. By getting rid of things I don't use, don't need, or don't love, as well as the things that don't work, don't fit, or don't suit, I free my mind and my shelves for what I truly value, and that's true for most people. And so I love when she says, I'm always surprised by the disproportionate energy and cheer I gain. This is what I think I've often struggled to put into words, is how good it feels and how empowering it is and how my confidence in myself increases when I declutter. It actually makes no logical sense, right? It's just some physical stuff. It's just some baskets of books under the bed. But when I come into our room here, again, it's like I try to keep it like my sanctuary, and it's peaceful and there's not extra stuff around. I feel like I can focus and I can think and I can clear my mind and I feel more confident. And so again, it's hard. I don't know. Like, thank you, Gretchen. I think those are great words to put to it. We're going to talk more about this. But if I have a choice between some baskets of books or having under our bed completely clear, I think for right now, at least for the season we're in, I'm going to choose having it clear under here. To me, that feels more valuable than these books. Okay, let's talk a little bit about kids' rooms and their things. Here's what is so important to remember about kids. They're not good at managing inventory, and they don't like to manage a lot of inventory. But this is confusing because I know some of us have kids that are very attached to their inventory, right? So it gets a little confusing, but the biggest thing is that we live in a very busy, noisy, chaotic world, and our kids need a safe, quiet, peaceful space to come home to. And so my encouragement is to go really far with simplifying your kids' room. You know, you've experienced this. Anytime you clean the room, like clean it, they love it. They spend more time in there, they're more at peace, and then what happens over time is it clutters up again and it's kind of a mess. And so if we can help them reduce their inventory and have less, they're going to be so much better for it. So I want to show you the massive declutter we did on one of Maggie's drawers here, but I also want to let you know that I do have a video where I went in depth decluttering our boys. They are 9 and 10, almost 11, going through their clothes and their toys in their room. They have a very small room. We have to keep the inventory really low. So I'm going to link to that video, and if you want to go through, if you have like a little bit younger kids, I think it's great for that. But when we have kids that are a little bit older too, it gets especially tricky because a lot of this stuff they've received as gifts and they've spent their own money on buying. And so we went through Maggie's drawer. So both of our girls have these IKEA bed frames that have the drawers under them. They're great, especially if you're limited on storage. But they can become a dumping ground really quickly. And that's what Maggie's left drawer had become. It was just full of so much randomness. And to take the time to sort all of that out and to decide what we were going to keep and what not. She had yarn. She loves to knit. She had yarn that was all knotted together. She had different craft projects she had started. It was too much. And so I know not everyone agrees with this, but we got a black trash bag and most of it went in there. I don't like to be wasteful, but I did not have the capacity nor the time to sit there and sort all of that out. So sometimes we just need a fresh start and we need to dump it all into a trash bag or dump it all into a bin, use it as a time will tell bin, set it aside for a little bit and see if anything is missed or if your kids want anything back out of it. Now, of course, we pull out anything that is super special. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like that extreme, right? Pull out anything that is super special to them. Have a treasure box if you need where they store that kind of stuff. But if you have spaces like this that are just an overwhelming mess, you might just need to dump it in a black trash bag and move on. And it doesn't always feel good, but man, this space felt so much better once we did that in a couple other areas where the inventory had crept up. And I'll show you too, like, so some of the stuff I think that still like kind of throws me off. Whenever they just have like cute little things like that, Maggie's like, just donate it. I don't need it. I'm like, what? You hardly even use this and you were going to put on your back, you know, and I'm like, nope. Like pencil pouches and this, we had way too many of these. Or even this craft book used to be one of Adeline's favorites about sewing little donut animals. Oh man, the Klutz brand craft kits have always been her favorite, but she's grown out of them now. And so she's like, oh, you can donate that. And I'm like, what? You know? And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, should I keep it? Should I save it? Should I put it in her memory bin? And I'm like, no, I'm going to donate it so someone else can make use of it. So I know as parents, sometimes it's harder for us to let go of this stuff than it is actually for our kids. I hear that very often, like you're not alone. But again, everything is a trade-off. And so do I want to continue to spend my time and energy managing and taking care of and organizing this kind of stuff? Or could I throw it in a donation box, totally forget about it, and not have to ever worry about it again, with the ultimate goal of my kids having a really peaceful space to come home to. Okay, so welcome to our other bathroom. It's a little tight in here, but we'll make it work. I haven't talked a lot about decor, but we had added these open shelves a few years ago, which I really like. They're, they're cute, right? But I have noticed that I do not like a lot of decor anymore. And it's been interesting. I've heard so many of you say that too. And so just be aware that what we liked in the past might evolve as we continue to simplify our home. So I could put a lot more on here, but I just choose not to because it's just more to clean around, to dust around, to take care of. And for right now, this season, I like it really highly streamlined. In this basket, we just have extra toilet paper. The top one has nothing in it anymore. It's just like there as filler. Now, could this change from season to season? Absolutely. But for here right now, I really like having it streamlined. So you might want to test out removing some decor from some of your bathrooms or other spaces as well and just see how it feels. Just try it out for like a week and see how it feels. If we switch over to the shower here, we keep a very low inventory in the shower. And so I would encourage you, obviously, go through, shampoo and body wash and conditioner bottles, all that, anything you're not using, any fancy hair things that you just you're having a hard time getting rid of because you spent money on it, but you're not actually, like deep conditioners and little packets of stuff I would have in there, little samples. And again, it doesn't feel good. It feels really nice to use this shower when there's very little inventory in here. And we actually have the stuff now. We're gonna move the dispenser from this end to the other end, but I really like this wall dispenser because it's just the fewer bottles that we have to have in the shower. So that has worked very well. But just with fresh eyes, just look at all of the stuff that you have in there. And if you're not using it every day, maybe consider storing it somewhere else. So the other things that we keep in here, we keep all of our medicines and that kind of stuff too. And it never ceases to amaze me how stuff in here will have expired without me even realizing it. And I'm like, what? Technically, yes, could some of this stuff we use past expiration and it's safe? We can, but I always have to ask myself, but why haven't I used it? It usually means because I'm not using that product anymore. I don't use it as often as I think. So maybe I'll keep one bottle of it to finish off, but I don't need 2 or 3 if it's already expired. Do you see what I mean? Often we just don't know how much of something we're gonna use, or we get it to try out and it doesn't do the job. There is a theme throughout all of our house of things that we buy thinking that they are going to do a good job or they're gonna work for us, and they don't. Not everything works for everybody, and that's okay. But I like to use a container concept. I just keep what comfortably fits in these acrylic bins. I like these bins. They fit well in here. We always end up with extra aloe because the person that I'm married to loves to be out in the sun, and I never remember to pack aloe. So then we grab something. We pay too much, $7.99 at like a gas station or something. We bring it home and I'm like, oh, I need to save that. No, there's actually, there's more. There's look at this jumbo one that we have, and also this one too, right? I should look at that. There's no way. These have to have expired. Anyways, again, this is a prime example of, even though he likes the sun, we will not be going through this much aloe. So I can let 2 of these go, just keep this one or whichever one we think is the best. Free up some extra space, and I am never gonna think about these again. Never. I'm just actually gonna put them in the garbage right now. Gone, done. We just don't need all of this stuff. We also keep our bath towels in this cabinet. We have 1 per person. I know people get very passionate about their bath towels. This is what works for us. It works really well for us. And so you can take a look, maybe 2 towels per person would fit your season of life well, but we probably don't need 4 or 5. Washcloths, we have 1 per person. Hand towels, we have 2 per bathroom, and that works really well for us. So again, often we just have to look at it with fresh eyes and be like, okay, is this extra inventory actually necessary, or would I rather trade it for extra space in my cabinets? For me, I'm choosing the extra space, but you do you, right? Okay, now storage spaces are a whole nother can of worms. It's kind of like the land of what ifs, right? And I don't like to keep saying I have another video on that. I'm gonna do a whole video on storage spaces because it's kind of a different animal to tackle. But I have some examples here of the kind of stuff that lands in our catch-all or storage spaces or extra bedrooms, like cute little containers like this that were like, oh, that would be so practical and I'll use it in my craft room or my whatever. But it doesn't actually function as well as we want. And then we still hang on to it thinking like, oh, well, some other space or other time I'm gonna use it. So this kind of stuff I don't keep anymore. Holiday decor. Again, we just look at the data. If I haven't used it in the past year or two and it's not super sentimental, then I'm gonna let this kind of stuff go. How about these types of things? So this was like a case that came with, oh, I can't remember. It was like a tripod, or even recently the kids got like a new music stand and it had like a travel case. And I'm like, no, we're not keeping it, because on the off chance we do fold it up and take it someplace, we're not going to remember that it had a carrying case, right? So if you know for sure you're going to use it, yeah, keep it. But if not, I will no longer store or keep this stuff in the off chance that I remember that it's there. I just donate it or unfortunately put it in the garbage. I feel like so many things come with all these like extra accessories now and they're totally useless. Even like little cute decorative towels or hand towels, you can't really tell, but it's like way too thin to like for something I would actually put out for like a guest towel. And I don't really do decorative towels in our bathroom or anything anymore. And so these types of things still hang me up because my creative brain thinks, oh, but we could use it then or when or where or there, I don't know, whatever. And so I don't keep this type of stuff anymore. Or even like, what about like cute baskets and things? Like, that's cute, looks practical. Again, if you know like, oh, every Christmas I put the rolls in it and it's perfect and all that, okay, great, of course, keep it. But otherwise, if you don't know exactly when and where you would use this, this, again, is the type of stuff that just clutters up and fills up our homes. And you absolutely can keep this, or you can trade it for extra freed up space. And for me, that just feels so much better. So I like the trade-off, but you get to pick for you what is best for you. Okay, so here's our new mindset around clothing. You're wasting too much time and energy getting dressed in the morning and feeling bad about yourself in the process. So for many of us, we have tons of clothes and nothing to wear, right? Can you relate to that at all? So what I want to challenge you with this new year is to try a uniform or a highly simplified wardrobe. Okay, so if numbers are helpful to you, here's my current wardrobe. So I have 4 pairs of jeans. So I'm wearing a pair and then I have 3. 1 are like dark and nicer and then the rest are a little bit more casual. I have 2 pairs of leggings and I wear these for both, like I'll wear it with a long sweater or also just with the sweatshirts. I've talked about before, I had to like up my game, right, in my casual around the house wear. So I have 5 sweatshirts. I'm missing, I think one's in the laundry. So I have 5, no, I'm wearing it. It's this one. I have 5 kind of more casual, just like around the house, the tops, oh my goodness. And then I don't really have like traditional pajamas, but this is the stuff I just kind of like wear for pajama-ish. And then I have 5 sweaters. 1 is in the wash, I do know that. So I have 5 sweaters. And if you're in a place where you just really need to streamline your clothing and getting dressed, I highly recommend creating a uniform. So in the past, my uniform was a black top and jeans. When we were selling real estate, my uniform was a blouse and black dress pants. And more recently, my uniform has become, again, if I'm like going out in public, my uniform is a sweater and jeans. So again, it might not be a traditional uniform, like I'm not wearing a black V-neck t-shirt every single day, right? But everything fits, I feel good in it. It's just very standard what it is I'm gonna put on. I have 5 that I choose from. I pick one out, I put it on, and I go about my day. It uses so little energy or bandwidth, and I don't start out the day feeling bad about myself, which is such a big win. Okay, well, hopefully I've given you some good ideas of things that you can move out of your house to free up more space, to have more peace, to have more confidence. I know, it still seems strange to me that we exchange all of this random stuff that we're not actually using for more peace, for more confidence, for more creativity, for all of these benefits that you wouldn't even expect. Like Gretchen Rubin says, it's disproportionate how much peace and energy that we gain from removing these physical things from our house. I know, it doesn't always make sense, but it has definitely been my experience over the last 8 years. And of course, I want that for you too. So again, we have this is all available as a free printable for those of you who like a good checklist. And I will link to a playlist of longer format videos. I know often when you're decluttering, it's nice to have some longer videos, and they do go into more depth with kids' rooms and storage spaces and kitchens and all the places you're working on in your house. I love you. I hope you have a really good day, and I'm excited for what's to come this new year.